Hi everyone, it's Dasher Dave here and I'm back for another crafty video. So this time we are going to make a journal that you are absolutely going to love because you can make it as big or as little as you want it to be. You can make it as thick or as thin as you want, and it is no sew. So if you're not a confident journal sewer, I know that some people have said when they sew it that, you know, they make a hole and it's always in the wrong place, etc. So this is a no sew version. Okay, so there is no sew. It's lots of different leaves of paper. So there's paper, you get like a fly page, you have paper. So there is always, the way it's made is piece of paper, a fly page, piece of paper, piece of paper, fly page, piece of paper. So it'll go all like that all the way through, and you know, you can have bits of cardboard, and you can have, you know, you can have more paper in it, you can, you know, whatever you want to do, you can have pockets, you can stick envelopes in, you can make it however you like. I love the way that this looks. It is very utilitarian in its design. It's raw, basic, does the job, no, you know, no frills, etc. However, you could then expand it by having it with a cloth bound spine to it. You could, you know, you could make it out of fabric. You could make the front and back cover out of, you know, board covered in fabric and leave the spine to be raw. You could utilize the spine. Let's make it and you'll see what I mean by it. So it is very easy to make, and trust me when I say it's very easy to make. You are literally not going to have to sew anything. Okay, so stop saying sew when you're not going to have to sew. So all you need to do, what you're going to need is you need some kind of cardboard. I'm going to use file folders. You know, I've got an obsession with file folders, therefore I've got loads of them. These are ones that I've bought myself. So these ones that came from, I think me and Brian between us splashed out and bought, you know, ourselves some file folders, and we've shared them. So we bought them in buff, yellow, and this orange colour. So I'm just going to use orange this time. I used a buff one on the spine here. So file folders, that's all you're going to need to do. So first of all, you know, if you've got file folders, you'll need to open it up. If you've got cardboard, you just need to, you know, be prepared to cut, and I'm going to tell you the cutting dimensions, etc. shortly. Okay, so first of all, let me prep this so that I've got all of the bits cut off that I don't need. So I've opened up those gussets, and I'm just going to cut those bits off with my trimmer. It's just much easier to cut the whole thing. Well, in theory it is if you've got a decent blade. I'm just going to cut that all off, and that won't cut, so I'll have to go deploy my trusty steed. No, I don't have a trusty steed. I have a trusty blade instead. I'm just going to cut down and cut that off, and then I'm going to do the other side. Bit of the gusset, cut's just fallen out, so there we go. Just cut this bit off as well, and all I'm doing is I'm just cutting it so that it's easier to work with all the raw bits cut off. But like I say, if you've got a piece of cardboard that you're going to use, then you won't need to do this. Just put that out the way over there. So when I started filming today, the sun was shining. Now it's overcast. I've just realised, got my washing out, let's hope it doesn't rain. So, fingers crossed for no rain, people. Okay. That bit hasn't been cut off properly, let's just cut that bit off. There we go. So, now we've got this, it's effectively now just turned it into a piece of cardboard, which is what you would have if you don't have any of this. So, we're going to need to make our spine. Okay, so that's this bit that we're going to make. Now I just left this as the width of a file folder, which is the width of the flap on this file folder. But we'll cut it to something a bit more exact. We're going to cut it to 5.5 this time. So we're going to go 5.5 this way, and we're going to cut 3 lots of cardboard with no folds in it. So if I come to this next bit, I will skip this bit out, and I will use a piece that doesn't have a fold in it. Now I wonder if this will go in my trimmer this way round now. Be nice if it did. No, of course it won't. Of course it won't. Do with a longer trimmer, that's what I need. So I'm going to go for 5.5 inches. Make a mark. So I will probably speed this up so you guys don't have to watch this. Okay, so like I say, I've cut that piece, and I'm going to cut this bit off because I'm not going to use this because it's got a fold in it. I need to have straight pieces, so I'm just going to cut this bit off. So rather than measuring this time, because it doesn't have to be perfectly accurate, I'm just going to put that up there, put my ruler against here, catch it on that edge, and then we're just going to cut this piece now. There we go, that's 2 pieces. Like I say, to make it this thickness, we're going to need 3. If you want to make it thicker, you'll need more of these. So if you want to make it thinner, you'll need less of them. So we're just going to do what we need to do. Can I use a piece of this? Oh, you know what? That's fine. I'm just going to cut on that piece. Like I say, it might not be exactly the same width, but it's not going to be an issue. You don't have to be too accurate on this. There we go. Leave that out of the way. So we've got these 3 pieces now. They're pretty much the same. They're like slightly out, doesn't matter. Okay, this has got one of the gusseted score lines in it, but it's not been bent on it, so it's fine. It's nice and sturdy. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to fold it over in half first. So we're going to make the spine for it. I'm going to fold it in half. Yeah, get your bone folder out and score it. Okay, this is much easier, and you're more likely to get a perfect. You're going to make an accordion fold, and you're more likely to get a perfect accordion fold if you do it this way than if you try and do it on a scoreboard. The lines will start as you're folding it. The lines will go out of wonk. They'll go on a wonk and they'll go out skew, and it'll all go horrible. What you're trying to do, doing this way, you can marry it up to the edge and it will fold nicely. And again, so once you've folded it in half, then fold one of the sides over in half, flip it over and fold the other whole side over in half. Put that down. And then what you're going to do is now you're going to fold this bit, this clean edge up to the fold. And fold there. And flip it over. And now do the same with this. Fold that clean edge up to the fold. Score that down. And now you've got this weird shape, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn this fold into the same depth as that. So you're just going to open it out, and then you're going to take this folded edge and fold it to the middle. Fold it down and then just flip that bit up while you put in that crease. And then do the same again. Just fold that out of the way for a minute. Take this bit, the folded edge, fold it into the middle. And then you're going to flip that out of the way so that you can just put the score line in it. And we're going to do that with all 3. So I'll meet you back here in a few minutes when I've done the others. So. Okay, so now we've got these folded. All you want to do now is you just want to make sure that all those folds are in nicely on both sides of each of them. Try not to move them so that they go out askew. You just want to make sure that the folds are in nicely. The folds will just help you when you come to the next bit. That is not going to fold on it though, so they'll just help you do the next bit that we're going to do when we use these parts. So put the folds in all the way along. That doesn't have a fold on, so that's fine. Like I say, all of them. That's really jabbing in my hand. I really should hold it in a different way, but never mind. The pain that we go through for our art. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to have them so that they're kind of all the same way up. Okay, so they should be, if you've got the clean ends pointing towards you, have them all so that they're all clean ends pointing towards you to make sure that they're all the same. So it's easier to do this when it's down on the table, but I'm going to do it like this because I think you can see it better. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take one and we're going to flip it over. Okay, so now what we've got is this one with the clean sides towards us and this one with the clean sides away from us, and that's so that we can fit them together to make one piece. And you're just going to glue that whole tab to that whole tab, so you're not leaving any holes or anything like that. So you're not making pockets. You just want it to be, you want it to fit in nicely, comfortably with each other. They slot together and form a nice strong bond. Okay, so you do that, fit that together like that, and then you just want to make sure it's all nicely aligned, shape it up. Remember, I cut one that's just slightly shallower, so that's the reason why it doesn't marry perfectly, but never mind. Like I say, it really isn't going to make a difference. Okay, so then what we're going to need to do is again have this one this way round, and then you'll notice that those two are now going to fit together perfectly that way. So we're just going to glue all of that. You just want to put a decent amount of glue on it just so that it all stays together nicely and isn't going to fall apart, because it's going to be very hard for you to try and mend this if it's not done accurately the first time round. So there we go. It's fine. So I've got the shorter one on the end, and it, like I say, it doesn't matter. If you cut yours, they'll all be the same size. It's not going to make any difference. It's just because I used a file folder, because I'm a cheapskate. Okay, so that's it. So that's the spine for our journal. Okay, I'm just going to crease them together now. Come over, crease them together. You don't have to do that. It's just because I've got OCD. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need is you're now going to need some paper to go to make your spine. So what you're going to use is whatever size paper you want. If you're using letter, then use letter. If you're using A4, then use A4. Whatever you have to hand. I do have some on the floor next to me here. So this is what we're going to use. There's a variety of different things. There's things with holes punched in it and some stuff with not. Okay, so and what you're going to do is you're going to take your paper and you're going to fold it in half. So you can fold it singly or as a group. But don't try and fold a whole thick wad. Maybe fold two together, no more than two together. Okay, and again, you just want to put a nice crease in there. So you are going to need. So you're going to put a signature. So like as in a single signature, so one of these on each one of these, one of the points, not these end bits. They're going to be your covers. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on this. So if you were making this smaller, you'd have less. If you were making it longer, you'd have more. So you've just got to bear that in mind. So you're going to need 10 folded, the minimum 10 folded of these. So that's 2 there. want a variety of paper, so we'll take, what have we got here? We've got 4 of these, so do 2 together at the same time. 2 together at the same time. Well, together and at the same time mean the same thing. So there we go. We've got 2 there. We've got another 2, so that gives us 6. Sorry, 3 lots. I was just thinking 3 lots of 2. What does that make, Dave? 6, Dave. What else have we got? We've got 6. We've got this. We'll make that. Fold that over. If you want to get them all nice and perfect and accurate, that's fine. But if you don't, then that's fine as well. I like if you look at mine's not all perfect and accurate, but I like that because it gives it a bit more of a utilitarian feel. And I know that I keep saying that, and you're probably all absolutely sick to death of hearing that now. But hey, I like to, like flogging a dead horse, is the same. Okay, so like I say, you could double this up. You could put in more. You could put in less. Sorry, you could put in more. Don't put in less. So you could have double 1 for each one of these, but you should have at least 1. Okay, so there we go. That's those. Yeah, and then the other thing you're going to need is you're going to need your fly leaves. Okay, and again, you're going to need 10 of those. And I would suggest that you use something a bit stronger, a bit more sturdy, a bit more cardboardy. Would be beneficial here. So I've got some cardboard here. Again, you're going to need 10, but I don't have 10 here. This is actually, you can see there's a score line in here, and that's actually because they are greetings cards. So you just need to make sure that they're the same size, which they are. And I am going to just then cut this down the middle. So he says he's going to cut it down the middle. He needs to find the middle. Just bear with me. You might have to, I might speed this up so you don't have to watch me cut this. Okay, so we've got 10 of the fly sheets and 10 of the signatures now. Okay, so what we need to do is we also now need to think about what are we going to use on the end covers. But what I would suggest is don't cut it. So you're going to make it first and then you're going to add your end covers. That way then it gives you that adjustment for having your end covers being a little bit bigger to kind of encompass any of the wiggle that you've got from it. So don't go making the cover yet. What you want to do is you want to make this part. So you are going to need some more cardboard. I will let you know that now. So you're going to need to have more cardboard than this, but we'll come to that in a second. So what you now need to do is you now need to get your folded sheets of paper and get a couple of them together. So I've got 4 here, so 4 sheets, so 8 leaves. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to take a measurement of this. So we decided how long was this? This was 5.5. Okay, and you're going to find the middle of this, and the middle this way is 8.25. So that's going to make the middle of this being 4 1/8. Look at me getting good at this. So I want to go, you're going to need to make a channel big enough for this. Okay, so because this is 5 and forgotten already, 5.5. Okay, we need to make the channel at least 6. So we're going to go 3 one way and 3 the other. Now you're probably thinking, what on earth is he talking about? But let me do it and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So you're going to go like that. Okay, let's leave it like that. Okay, we'll come back and I'll finish those in a second. So what I need to do is I just need to open this up so that all of the 4 are all together, and you keep them together so that their spines are lined up. Okay, so if you'd rather do this one by one, then do it one by one. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a slice of paper down here. Okay, now when you're putting a slice in, you might want to make it a little bit wider to be able to, it's going to sit over one of these spines, and you're thinking, how on earth is that going to happen, Dave? I have no idea how it's going to fall off. Just bear with me. All right, so we're going to cut down here. Now the best thing to do, so the way that I would like you to do it, is to cut a little one side of the fold and then move over and cut the other side of the fold. So well, that's what we're going to do. So I was going to do it a different way, but I've decided I'm not going to confuse you. So we are going to cut a little channel. Remember, you need to make sure that all your folds are all lined up. Yeah. So if you keep playing around with it, the more you play around with it, the less the folds will be lined up. So put the folds together, open it out, put the fold down, and then you're just going to put make the tiniest channel, I mean like a slither of a channel. So we're going to go from that point, that mark, to that mark. I'm going to cut down. And make sure you go through all of the paper. Yeah, and then you're going to cut the channel. I should have done it the other way around, but there you go. Don't you do it this way around, do it the other way around. Now, if you don't want to cut the channel, it's fine. You might just find that the pages buckle a little bit more, but it isn't going to be a massive problem. Don't panic about it. I'm just telling you the best way. Okay, so we can see this. This is how tiny this is. This is how tiny our channel is. It's so tiny that you don't even have to cut at either end of it. There is nothing to cut at either end. You just need to just pull it off and it's fine. Okay, so that's 8 pages, I think, there. We're just going to do the rest of them together. So again, you just want to sit them all inside each other. So there we go. So we've got little channels in there. So like I say, you can just cut a slit. That's absolutely fine. Okay, but there we go. They're our pieces. So we've got these. We've got our fly leaves. We've got lots of bits of slithers of paper all over the place now. And now what we need to do is we now need to look at this. So what's going to happen is the way you're going to build this is you're going to take one of your leaves of paper and you're going to slot that over there, and you're going to have a fly leaf on here. Okay, you don't put your fly leaf on though just yet. What you need to do is you now need to have a locking mechanism to lock this into place, and that mechanism is lots of strips of cardboard. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to look at how, so it depending on how long your sheet of card will depend on how deep your channel is going to be. So what I would suggest is you open it up and you get a ruler and you just measure it. Now you don't want it to be snug, so this is 1.5 inches. You don't want it's a little less than 1.5 inches actually, so you don't want it to be too snug. So if I actually cut this at a fraction under 1.5 inches wide, then that should fit in nicely. Now you might have to jiggle it a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this at 1.5 inches wide and we will see whether that fits in. We also don't want it to be any longer than our page, so what you want to do is then just have a look and see. So we know that this is 5.5 long. If we make this 6.5 long, let's get, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a whole load and I will come back to you. So, and I will tell you what I've done. So Okay, so I have my 10 strips of card now. They're in various colours. It doesn't really matter what colour you use. So now what we do is we're going to slide this into here. Okay, and that's going to be the thing that locks your sheet of paper in. Okay, so just move that a little bit. So it locks your sheet of paper in. It stops your sheet of paper from coming off. Okay, so straighten it up a bit. There we go. Cool. So you're going to do that, and then you're going to do that with each one of the pages. So you just put your pages in however you like, all nice and random. So you're going to put the page. So what you need to do is you need to pull that up together. Slot your page over the top of it. This is where the channel comes in handy bit, rather than it just being a slot. It is fiddly, I will warn you, it's fiddly, but it's worth it. This is going to be the easiest journal you've ever made because it's nice and simple. It doesn't require sewing, and once you get into the swing of them, you can really make these. You can knock them out like nobody's business, and they give you that kind of utilitarian feel, which is like the thing that I'm really into. Okay, so we're not going to worry about sticking them at the minute. We'll come back to that in a second. I'm just going to go through and I'm just going to put in all of the pieces first. I'm just going to try and have some kind of variation on pages. Okay, so one of the things I need to say is that this locking mechanism needs to be bigger than the slot that you cut. Okay, otherwise you're going to find that your paper will just slide over the top of that. So just bear that in mind, okay, but it doesn't want to be any bigger than the pages. Okay, so I finished my last page, so that's basically it. See how it holds itself together anyway. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to just lock that in place by putting some glue in. Oh, there we go. So we're going to put some glue in and glue all of our pages, but before we do that, what we want to do is we want to kind of just hold it together a little bit, but try and get the pages to kind of line up with themselves. You might find that you need to readjust the locking things, and then the locking things are going to be the thing that you glue your pages to. So rather than having a yellow page on a yellow spine thing, I'm going to do it differently. So I'm going to glue this, and what I did was I created tucks. So I glued this to the page, okay, but not to this. But if you wanted to glue it down, absolutely fine. It's not going to cause any issues. All it is I wanted to have it as a kind of a little space to be able to put a tuck pocket in there. Okay, so I'll do it this way round and you'll be able to see what I mean. So I'm going to put that in, line that up with my journal, okay. Flip this just open a bit, and then I'm going to put some glue on the end of this tab here. Just going to try and make it look a bit more level. Some glue on here, and some glue on here. Okay, I'll just put a tiny bit on the end of each of them, and that way then I've got a tuck pocket as well. So just going to flip that over and glue it down. Okay, and like I say, the gluing part is always the part that you have to kind of give yourself a bit of time on, because glue will only set in the time it sets in. So you can't hurry glue. You can't hurry glue. Oh, I trust in the good times. Oh, shut up, Dave. Now break. Shh. Phil Collins. I'm sorry. Apologise, Phil, for your... if you're thinking, what on earth has he done to my song? Yeah. So, anyway. When you make a complete idiot of yourself. Well, that's my life, so... So like I say, you can just put glue all the way down it if you don't want it to be a tuck pocket, but you know, if you want it to be, then do so. I'm going to glue that one on that way round. Okay, and then we're going to go to the next bit, the next tab. Just going to straighten that up a bit, and we'll put a yellow one on this one because, you know, nice bit of yellow and orange and yellow together, very sunny spring colours. Oh, don't go over the edge, Dave. Don't go over the edge, Dave. So that's twice I've gone over the edge now. Put that on there. Put that up to the spine. You don't want it to go past the spine, that's the only thing. So spine. Put it over, give it a glue, make it stick. This, not put that one on, I'll put this one on, put that up to that. So again, I like to see the writing on these file folder things, that's why I'm doing it like that. Again, butt it up, line it up nicely, glue it down. So, okay, there we go. So that's all those pages glued in with your fly sheet. So like I say, if you can add more pages, you can have you could go page, fly leaf, or you could go page, fly leaf. Just don't go too mad, because the more you put in here, the more it'll stick out this way, and your pages won't line up. So, but you know, put as many as you like in. What you'll find is these, wherever there is a fold, there is a tuck. So you could make use of that. You could, you know, put a nice fancy spine on it, and you know, you could have it so that it, you know, there's various different undulating bits of fabric just sticking out, so you've got fringe on the back or whatever you wanted to. Okay, but there you go, that's the rudimentary part of the journal done. It's so simple to make. I cannot express to you how simple it is and how quick. You know, you really are going to make lots of these in a very short space of time. Now all we need to do is we need to think about what we're going to put on the outside. So we're going to make ourselves some kind of a cover, and I will be back in a second. Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to use this as my cover. You want it to be like, you know, a fairly sturdy piece of cardboard. This is just another broken file folder from work. So I'm just going to cut this end off. So it's one of the hanging suspension file folders style, and I'm just going to cut this bit off, like all of the scratty bits. So. Scratty bits. That's a term, isn't it, Dave? No, it's not. So, if you find that your cardboard isn't very thick, then you can just double it up. So I'm just going to decide now, what do I want. So how big is it? First of all, will it fit? Will I get? Yes, that's fine. So you want to make it slightly bigger than your signatures together, just to give it a it kind of finishes it nicely. If it's a little bit bigger, that's fine. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to cut the I'm going to use this. I'm going to have this way round, and that might be the front, and that might be the back. but I'm going to use that on the back. So anyway, let me just cut it down and I'll show you what I'm going to do. This is just aesthetics. This is not anything you need to do. Just a decent weight of cardboard you need, just so that you know that it's going to stand up to the job of being a cover page. Okay, like I say, you could make your fabric covered, or you could, do a faux leather one or whatever. So if you're doing a faux leather one, obviously follow my tutorial on doing faux leather. And how big do I need it to be? This way. So if I go for half, is in half too big? And half will be, yeah, way too big. So where do we want it to be? Pencil. About there. So I'm going to put a fold in about there. Should I do that with a scoreboard? Scoreboard falling off the wall. Will it line up with either of the grooves, metric or whatever, or otherwise? So line up will go there. So that bit's going to fold over that way. Yep. And we're going to do the same for that one, wherever that fold was. Dave, where was it? What line was that on? What marking? Make the same. Give them a chance, fighting chance, Dave. Same size. Is it there? And we're going to have that one that way. Let's put that back up there. Okay, so just going to cut the excess off now. Just use a guillotine. So basically I'm just going to strengthen this by sticking it together as one piece, front and back. So I'm just going to cut them down so that they don't have this overhang. That piece. Score in there, score in there. So I'm going to have this, the crystal file one as the back, and this as the front. I'm just going to glue these this fold together. Okay, so I mean, like, you could, if you're doing this, you could make that into an extra pocket. No, I'm not going to. I'm just going to make it a. Don't want to get clever, Dave. I think I came up with the clever making this without the, making this video is the clever. Making extra bits is the not so clever. Overcomplicating that's what it is, Dave, if you do it like that. It's a fab little make as it is without it being overly complicated. Don't stick it down to your desk, Dave. It's not coming out as quick as I want it to anyway. It will be dry by the time I finish this. There we go, put that down, stick that down. That's that one, and I'm just going to do the same on this. I love this colour green. I think it's fab. Is this what you would call arsenic green? Do you remember there was a big thing in the, you might not remember because you might not be old enough to remember, but the Victorians had a thing, you shouldn't be old enough to remember. Unlikely to have been around during the Victorian period, unless you're in a time travel machine. So But yeah, the Victorians were very fond of this, of a kind of an arsenic green, and because it got arsenic in it, and then people killing themselves for fashion. They didn't realise that arsenic was so deadly, though. Well, they learnt the hard way, didn't they? So, okay, so I'm making a nice couple of things. So I think I'm going to put this one on the front. Do it like that way. Yeah. So all you're going to do now is you're going to use these tabs to be your front and your back. Just want to make sure that that's not too big. How big is it? Might cut it down a fraction so it's not. Yeah, let's cut it down a fraction. Level it off. Where's my ruler? My ruler. They're not both the same size anyway, so it's probably a good job on doing it. So. Oh no, they are the same size. I'm just being silly. Being a silly Billy. There we go. Hopefully that was more like the right size. They're much more stiff now as well. So pop that on there. Will that be right? Yeah, that's fine. Cool. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick, and I'm not going to leave a gap on this, so it's not going to be a tuck like the others have been. It's literally going to be all the way over this. You want to give the cover a nice strong bond. So be liberal with your glue. Don't drown it, obviously, but which way around is it, Dave? It's that way. That's right. Well, it is. Pop that on there. That's right. And then we're going to lift it up and flip it over. I'm going to put this one on. Go, that's it. So we've got, that's our front. There we go, all the way through to our back. So, like I say, really, really simple. Really, really simple. You know, anybody can make that. Kids could make that. So, that, you know, you can make it, like I say, you could make it double thickness. You could keep going. You could make it really chunky thing. When you're filling it as well, you also got to remember that if you were filling this journal, you're not going to get so much alligator mouth from it because the spine is already thicker than the open edge. Okay, so the clean edge will sink naturally together like this, and this will be a bit chunkier. So if you're going to fill it with things, it will just expand a bit more. The spine itself expands a little bit as well. It has a bit of give to it. You don't want to force that expansion because all you're going to do is rip your pages, but you'll definitely get some expansion from it. Now, the couple of things that you could do is you could bind the tops of where you've cut the slither out. You could bind them with a bit of fabric, or you could put a bit of leather on the top, so you've got a couple of tabs either side of it to stop it from ripping or expanding too much. Leather will also give as well, so you'll still get that same give from it. You could do it so that you had two spines, so you could do a zigzag of an accordion of cardboard here and an accordion of it here with a a gap in the middle. So you just cut two slots into things. That way, then I would suggest that because you're putting more cuts into the paper and more strain on it, you might want to put something at the top and the bottom to stop it from expanding too much and ripping. You could tape it with a bit of sellotape, so you could use some of your faux sellotape that we made in previous videos. So it's faux sellotape out, Dave. No, won't come. Use some faux sellotape at the top and the bottom wrapped around, so that you could have that kind of like utilitarian, adding to the utilitarian theme. You could make it beautiful, and you could put fabric on the end. Like I say, you could tuck some raw edges of fabric in between each one of these, so you've got like a fringe of fabric hanging out the back. You could do anything. You can really make this look really super luxurious, super simple. You can make it really officey, you can make it really practical. Wouldn't that be a fantastic gift to give to somebody? I know lots of people who like to write journals and things, and just to know that you've made it would make it extra special, wouldn't it? And yet that is so simple. It's not something that you would have to spend months on making. You could put something like this together and then stuff it full of all of the ephemera that you've probably made if you've been following along with my videos. If you're anything like me, you'll make lots of ephemera and very few journals. But you could make it as big as you wanted to, as long as your paper is big enough. You could make a slim version of it, so you could fold your paper the other way, so that you have like a, what they call traveller's notebook style one, so you do it this way. You might want to put a couple of spines in that way. So many things that you could do, and it's so exciting to be able to do that. And like I say, make it thicker. You can make it as thick as that. You could go even thicker. You could have like a big book that you'd like drop on, that kind of thing. Yeah, anyway, shut up, Dave. Can you tell I'm very excited by this? So there you go. One of the other things I thought was, if you had you could have like a piece of like cardboard, what am I trying to think, that was just narrow enough to like go in the just short enough to go in the end of here, that had a little tassel on it. Then you can take it out and use that as your bookmark, pop it back in the spine when you're finished with it. Just so many things, so many ideas. So like I say, these things are in here. These are all like little tuck spaces now, but if you wanted to glue them down, you can, absolutely. You could tie in a tassel of thread or whatever, or put a one of those pieces of ribbon in that you can use as a bookmark. The possibilities are endless. I tell you, make one, you will see so many possibilities in the process, and you'll be making them all the time. You're just going to love it. So can you tell I'm quite excited? So there you go. Really simple. Like I say, go and make some, find out for yourself how simple it is. And if you really thought it was simple and you liked it, give this video a thumbs up. I'm really hoping that this one is the thing that makes people go, oh, I really like that. And give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe for lots more. My brain works overtime, so I don't sleep, so that you have more inspiration. And I hope that you'll drop me a message, or follow along, or make a comment, or whatever. So don't forget my digitals as well. I've got digitals on Ko-fi that are free of charge, that you are welcome to download, and you can just go and find the free Ko-fi stuff. So this is a couple of the things that I've got on Ko-fi. Some things are like a few pence to buy another. So like there's all of them are just one sheet. Some of them are free. Some of them are a few pence to buy. But these are the kind of things. These are printed on a laser jet, so this is the reason why they're a bit shiny. So these are a couple of different things that you can get. Sorry, this is in just a couple of different sizes. It's been printed, but you can print those out. You can get. There's some bees on there. There's a few other designs that you can, you know, knock yourself out with. Obviously, don't literally knock yourself out with. We've got some. There we go. These are some of the other ones. Obviously, you can print this full size. I just printed them this size. So these are some of the other ones that you can go and print. You can print them whatever size you like. These are some of the others. So, like they range from free to 99 pence. So, sorry, free to, is it 99 or £1? It might be £1, to be fair. So go and find them. If you want to buy any of my other digitals, they're all on my Etsy page. The link is in the description. If you want to just buy me a coffee, then feel free to buy me a coffee. If you want, so any of the free digitals that you've got on Ko-fi, any of the free templates, because I put templates on there, any of the free things on there, you can pay a little bit for it if you feel that it's justified. You don't have to though, and we all like a freebie in this world, don't we? So anyway, so literally there's a bee on there that is free, so it's a free bee. So I liked the pun, that's why I did it. So anyway, that's it. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you like this video. Please give it a thumbs up. My name's Dash of Dave. I'll see you all in the next video. Don't forget, I love you all without exception until you give me a reason not to. So don't give me a reason not to. Take care, folks. Lots of love, lots of hugs, and remember, be kind to you and to each other. Take care. Bye bye.